Alright guys, well, in this video we're just gonna look at JavaScript. So in the previous video we looked at HTML, and we also looked at CSS, right? So in this video we are going to look at JavaScript. Alright, let's see. Let's just make a revision a bit. So we set our makeup languages in our website. We have two languages, right? It's our makeup languages and our programming languages. For our makeup languages, we have HTML, CSS, of which we did in the previous videos, and if you haven't watched that, make sure that you watch them. And for our programming languages, we have JavaScript, PHP, and Python. Right. So we set as you see here, there are numberings. There's 1, 2, and 3. We set these 3 are for our front end. So we'll use JavaScript for our front end, and then we set that on the front end. It's everything that appears on the browser, and the back end, it's what happens on the server side. Well, yeah, that's it. Without wasting any time, let's look at it. So basically, for you to install JavaScript, right, we'll be using Jquery. So just go to jquery.com, and the Jquery, it's an improved version or a simpler version of JavaScript. So you'll see how easy it is to work with Jquery. So visit this URL and go to downloads. Under downloads, here we want this compressed production Jquery, the latest version. So just click here and press Ctrl A to copy, to highlight everything there, and Ctrl C to copy that, and then open a new file in your Sublime. Just paste it there, and this Ctrl S to save this. So save it as let's store it in a folder. So just open a new folder and name it JS. Open that folder. Inside this folder, we want to save this Jquery, right? Just copy this Jquery with its version as it is, and then use that name to save it as, so it will be Jquery 3.51 min.js. Just save it there. All right, so now we have Jquery in our directory, right? Here inside this folder we have that Jquery. So we want to include that in our home.html, right, of which is what we are working on here. So, and the way we do that, it's we'll have to type what's this, open tag script, and enter tab. Since I'm using Emmet for what, for my Sublime text, so you press Emmet to autocomplete that. So now, and I just want to point out that including your JavaScript or Jquery on the head tag, these tags, right, under this, it's a bad thing. So you don't want to do that, because when the page loads, starts from here at the top going down, and it loads that script, and then you saw how long was this thing, right? So it takes time. It makes our website to load slow. So what you want to do, in fact, let's just do that. You'd want to take this and include it here in your footer, you know, make sure you edit there. And so in order to edit here, you'll have to use this attribute called a source, right? So in the source, you'll have to give it the path where the file for the JavaScript is. So it's in our current directory, right? And that's how we do it, under this folder JS, and inside that we want this so let's go there, just copy the name of it. So inside this we want to include this file, all right, like that. So now jQuery is added into our HTML. So in order to check whether it was included successfully, we can just say script and then press tab, okay, and it will finish, will auto-complete that for you. So you can either say, okay, let's just do the alert, you know, so alert hello world. So when I refresh the page, and then if there's a pop-up that says hello world, that means our JavaScript was loaded successfully. So let's just open our file. Okay, so as you can see, there is that pop-out that says hello world. That means our JavaScript was loaded successfully. Okay, so okay, now right, let me just close this. All right, I mean cancel that. So right now we said, let's just go back to this document again. We said HTML, it's actually our skeleton, right? And then we talked about CSS as our flesh. Now the JavaScript and the PHP and Python, we said that these will be the functionalities of our body, you know. So and JavaScript will use it in the front end, you know, for the front end functionalities, when like listening to button clicks and all those kind of events, you know, of which we'll look at right now. And PHP would PHP or Python would use it for the back end, you know, like for the database storage and all those kind of stuff. We'll see these ones later. Right now let's deal with our JavaScript. So well, so right, let me refresh this. Yeah, as you can see, this is the hello world, right? It's not doing anything there, right? So I can style it using CSS, right? So it's inside this main tag, right, of which let's give it a div, and let's put it under this, inside this div, right? So it's now the hello world is inside that div, and then let's give it the ID greeting, right? So and style it that. All right, so let's maybe style the background, right? The background color, let's make it gray. Yeah, that will do. Just want to show us something. So you see, right, these are div. Now the text there, it's gray. So the CSS, we said it works for the looks, right? And the HTML is just the skeleton. But look at this, it's not doing anything, right? There's nothing that it's happening here. So let's do something here underneath. Let's just put a button. Let's just put a button next to this. So there's our button, and say maybe show text. So we're gonna use this button to show the text that's inside that greeting. Okay, so let's refresh our page. Yes, as you can see, this button, when I click on it, nothing happens, right? but we want this button to actually alert this text, you know. So how would we do that? So now remember, now that's a function, right? So in order to do that, let's just give it an ID, this button. So, and call it what? And call it show button, or button show, btn show, you know. All right, save that. All right, so now in our JavaScript, you know, inside these two tags, all right. So let me just write something here. This is where we include our library, of which is Jquery, and under this is our script, you know. It's where we will write every function that we want, right? So under this one in our scripts, okay, so we wanted to access that element, right? And the way you would do that with the Jquery, first of all, you want the page to load first, you know, before whatever it is that you are calling here, all the functionalities that you are calling here, they must wait for the whole page to load first. And then the way you would do that in JavaScript, you say dollar and say document, you know, and dot ready, right? So and say a lambda function. Let's put a lambda function here, and the lambda function is just a function without a name, okay? So like this one. All right, so we did that. Okay, inside that, now this dollar document dot ready, it will wait for the whole page to load before it execute anything inside it, right? So that was the whole aim for that. So now let's see here, we want to access the text inside the button, okay? And the way you access anything in using Jquery, you know, is that you put this dollar sign in there, these quotations, right? And you put if you call it just like in CSS, if it's an ID like greeting, you call it like that, you know. You say dollar greeting, or if it's a class which is starts with this start with a dot, you know, you call it like that. In this case, this button starts, it's a button show, so we'll copy that, right? But we have to put a hashtag there because it's an ID right? Now this, we want when they click on that button, right? When they click on that button, we want to do something. So the way we'll do that, we say here click, all right, and say do a lambda function also inside this, like that. But make sure that you close your thing, your event, with a semicolon, okay? Now after they click on the button, what is it that we want to do? So we wanted to get the text. So we want to get, and the way you get the text, you have to call get this element, right? So let's get this element by its ID. All right, and just put a dot a hashtag with an ID, right? And get that element. So this will get the whole element, right? This whole of which is an object in JavaScript. But you don't want that. We only want this text inside it. So the way you do that, you say a dot txt, right? Like that, a dot text. So you'll call that. All right, so let's just say we want to alert the way we did last time. We want to show this on the screen, but we only want to show it when they click on this button. So let's save that, go to your page and refresh. Now when I click here, it must show hello world. Let's see. All right, now you see it got that text hello world. Anyway, let's change the text so that you see that it's getting this text here. So hello, my name is David. All right, so we changed the text. Let me refresh this. My name is David, right, as you can see. And when I click on that show text, look at this. Hello, my name is David. So now you can see there are functions, you know, they have events, you know, when I click something happens, you know, and these clicks and all these kind of stuff, you normally see them on the buttons, like let me see if let's just open any website. Yeah, maybe in a tech website. You know, yeah, like this, you know, when I click on that button, there's a, you see what happens, and that's JavaScript. It's everything that's happening on the browser side, right? Or some drop downs like this ones. You know, that would be our JavaScript. Or just clicking on something like this, you know, everything that happens on the browser side of things, that's our JavaScript. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back to our homepage. So that's how you get a text inside the div, right? So you can do that here, when here, instead of calling, of which is a bad, let me start by mentioning this is bad. You shouldn't be doing something like this, you know, and I'll give you the reasons why am I saying that. So instead of calling that element with its ID, you can call it with its name tag, you know, or tag name, right? So like div, right? However, put this inside that, inside quotation marks. Okay, these should give us the same results, you know. When I click show, still I see that. But as you can see, this is bad because a div, remember, I can have so many div tags, you know, like have another div saying data, you know, like that. Let me save that. So these, what is going to do, it will take all the text inside this and that, you know, and this, of which we don't normally want to do that. We want it to actually what, toggle, you know, or target certain elements, not all elements like these, like divs, you know. So using the tag names like this, it's very bad. But let's just see. If I refresh, you see I'm having that data there, and when I say show text, it says hello, my name is David, and that data there at the end, you know, because it got everything inside the div. You don't want to do that. So let's take that out, you know, save this. So now let's see if it's not a normal tag like a div or paragraphs, you know. Let's look at it in something that's very common, like an input tag. An input tag, you know, where a user inputs something, and then we take that, whether it's username and password, and we take that information, then use it for other things, you know. So in this case, we'll say ID, say username. All right, and that's how you actually put in an input tag. Let's just give it a placeholder and say username. All right, so okay, that's it. Let me just refresh the page. Now we see here we are having this input field. All right, and now on this input field, okay, I just want to show you something first. So if I were to come here and say this we want this element username, right? But and say text like that, this is incorrect, but I just want you to see it, right? So this won't work. So if I want what a user puts in this input tag, we'll see how to get it, but let's see how this reacts so far. So let me alert this alert like we did before. Okay, so now let's refresh our page. So if I were to put David Natty like that and show text, look at this, there's nothing in this pop out of ours, you know. Well, that's because of input text are treated different from normal text, like your paragraphs and divs, you know, your span and whatnot. So instead of saying text, we wanted the value that's inside that import tag. So that's how you get that that information. So let me refresh this. So now let's repeat this and say David Natty and then say show text. You see, now we have the text. And yeah, that's it, guys, about JavaScript, you know, on Jquery, you know, of which is a library for JavaScript to simplify things, you know. If you like these videos, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and make sure that you hit the notification button. All right, so in the following videos, we will see more of this in practice, you know. Don't worry about this, these are just introduction, but just learn them, you know. Learn how do we use them. In fact, let me show you one more thing before I end this video. Okay, and that thing is, as you can see, right, when we write our script like this here, we don't want it to we want our things to be organized. So we can't have this thing here. All right, for now the script is still small, but when this adds more and more and more, when we add more functions, this will be very long, you know. So the way we would want it to keep our things organized, it's actually save the script outside, you know, just like this JavaScript. Just save it somewhere and then include it here, just like the way we included this JavaScript. So let's see how do we do that. So I'll just cut this with Control X on Windows and just paste it here, right? Just paste it here. All right, and save this. Let's go to our JS folder, and this one we will call it script. Okay, script.js. Our JavaScript files, they end with JS. Don't make a mistake, our HTML files ends with HTML and our CSS files ended with .css, right? So this is our JS, our JavaScript. Where is it? So yeah, there it is, right? Save it there. So script.js, right? So now we will have to include it like we did here with this one. So let me copy that and just paste it here underneath. But instead of this, we want a script. We don't want that, we want a script.js. that's what we name our file, script.js. So now let me refresh the page, you know, and write David Natty and see if the functions are still working. You see, our JavaScript is still working. So that's how you would include your JavaScript. And you see, now this is now a one-line thing, you know, and it keeps our code very clean. We can write our JavaScript here, how long it doesn't matter whether it's whatever long. Okay, yeah, the aim is just to keep them separate from our HTML, just like we did with our CSS, right? So well, that's it guys, on this video. Well, leave any comments if there's something that you would want me to cover in other videos. Until next time guys, cheers.